Namaste and good evening. We'll start with the prayers. Om Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now we'll chant Mahamrityunjay mantra 3 times to pray for those who are in suffering, particularly during this pandemic. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Eva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukam Iva Bandhanan Mrutyurmukshiyamamrutat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Welcome everyone. Today we are having the class 5 and these are the topics we'll cover today. In the last class, we had covered the story of Lord Shiva and Sati's delusion and she giving up her body, reborn as Parvati. And then Narada comes and Parvati is born as the daughter of Himalaya. And when Sage Narada comes, Himalaya wants to know the fate of his daughter. And when Narada sees Parvati's palm, and he says that your daughter is the mine of all the virtues. You will become famous and adorable because of her. Anybody who will worship her will get all her desires fulfilled. So he tells in this vein, and then he says, only there is one thing, and that one thing is that her husband, he would be a yogi without any desires, without any clothes, without any house. The way he looks may not look very auspicious. That kind of, without parents, without any qualities, he is detached from everything, has no doubts or no desires. This kind of husband she will get. So when the parents became unhappy listening to this, Narada said, look, all these qualities are found in Lord Shiva. And therefore, if she gets Lord Shiva as her husband, all these things which I have told you, all these negative things, so to speak, they will all become virtues, because when they are associated with Lord Shiva, they all become virtues. So she should perform the austerities and penance and meditation to attain Lord Shiva. Parvati was quite happy to hear this. Her mother was finding it difficult, to tell her daughter that in such a tender age and she is so beautiful to go to forest to perform the austerities. So Uma, or the Parvati, that's the name of the daughter, she herself convinced her parents that it's good that I should go. And then she goes for the penance. So we'll continue our story from that point. So Parvati goes to the forest, finds a secluded spot, and starts meditation and penance. She starts fasting for a few days, eating a little bit. Then she increases her fasting. Then she just fasting on some fruits and roots, that too very little. In this fashion, finally she is only eating the bilva leaves. There is a plant called bilva, which is very dear to Lord Shiva. The leaves of bilva plant are offered to Lord Shiva as worship, and they are also can be eaten as herbs. So Parvati was eating just those leaves, and then she was eating those leaves only which had fallen on the ground. So for some time like that, after doing this much austerity, she even gave up eating the leaves, and she was not eating or drinking anything. So here it is. पुनि परिहरे सुखाने परना, उमहि नाम तब भयउ अपर्णा, देख उमहि तप खीन शरीरा, ब्रह्म गिरा भय गगन गभीरा, भयउ मनोरथ सुफल तब, सुन गिरिराज कुमार, परिहर दुसह कलेश सब, अब मिले हैं त्रिपुरा. She even gave up those leaves. Then her name became Aparna. Aparna means the one without the leaves, living without the leaves. So Aparna, that became her name, and that is also one of the names of Divine Mother, known as Aparna. So that's how the name has come. The name of Divine Mother as Aparna has come because when she was performing the austerities, penance, meditation, she even giving up the leaves. When Parvati's body got emaciated after doing so much austerity and meditation, there was a deep voice from the sky of Lord Brahma, the creator. He said that, "O Parvati, whatever you desire, that will come to a pass. Now you give up all these austerities and be assured of that you will attain Lord Shiva as your husband." On the other hand, Lord Shiva, after Sati gave up her body, he became detached from everything. All he was just going from place to place, meditating on Lord Rama and chanting his name. So here are some verses. उमा चरित सुंदर में गावा, सुनहु शंभु कर चरित सुहावा, जब ते सती जाई तनु त्यागा, तब ते शिव मन भयउ बिरागा, जपहि सदा रघुनायक नामा, जह ते सुनहि राम गुण ग्रामा. So he just trying to listen to the glories of Lord Rama and chanting his name and meditating on Lord Rama. So after some time passed like this, one day Lord Rama comes to him and says, "Look, you are extremely dear to me, and this kind of vow which you have taken, only somebody like you only could have done that. now you know that Sati, your wife who gave up her body, she is born as Parvati. And again, she is greatly devoted to you. She wants to have you as her husband. And she is a very pure and pious soul. And she is doing a lot of austerities to please you so that you become her husband. So my desire is that you should marry her. Lord Shiva was not much interested in marrying or starting a family. But when Lord Rama came and requested him, Lord Shiva said, okay, as you wish. So then Lord Shiva called 7 sages. So in Hindu stories, Hindu scriptures, there is a mention of Saptarishi or 7 sages. So Saptarishi is like Saptarishi. Sapta means 7, Rishi means sages. So these 7 sages, they are also visible in the sky as 7 stars. And they are also believed to be very, very long living, assuming any form at will, mostly human. So Lord Shiva calls them and says, go to Parvati. Somebody has written a comment that Saptarishi is also known as Great Bear, Big Dipper, or Ursa Major in the sky. So Lord Shiva calls Saptarishi, these 7 sages, and says, I want you to go to Parvati and see that whether she really loves me, whether she really has the desire for me and only nothing else. And then I'll see whether I want to, whether I have a desire to marry her or not. So they, as Lord Shiva instructed them, they go to Parvati. And when they see Parvati, they see as if the penance, austerities, and meditation has taken a form. She was so absorbed in Lord Shiva. So they approached her and they asked her, Bole muni sunu sail kumari, karahu kavan karan tap bhari, Narad kaha satya soi jana, binu pankhan hum chahi udana, देखहु मुनि अविवेक हमारा, चाहिए सदा से बहि भर तारा, सुनत बचन बिहसेष, गिरि संभव तब देह, नारद कर उपदेश सुने, कहु बसेउ किसुगे. So those 7 sages said that, O Parvati, why are you at this tender age performing such great austerities? What is the reason? What do you want to achieve out of this? So Parvati said, look, if I tell you why am I doing this, you may laugh at me because I have such little strength or capability or the worth, but I want so much. And it is because Narada came to my home and whatever he said, I just trusted his words. I trusted his words to be true. And accordingly, I want Lord Shiva as my husband. It is like a bird wants to fly without the wings. Like I don't have any ability to be capable to be worthy of becoming wife of Lord Shiva. But because Narada said so, I am taking that as the truth and performing the penance as he instructed. So when Parvati told this, all the rishis, they smiled and they said, oh, you are indeed born of mountain, like you are not very sharp and intelligent, like in that sense. Tell me, whoever has happened in this world, whom Narada helped to get married and get a family. So Sage Narada is generally known as I told you in the last class, to help people to move forward for God realization. And there have been many instances where, hearing the teachings of Narada, people became monks. So that's rishis referring to that aspect of Narada's teachings, saying that, has there been anybody who has started a family life after following Narada's teachings? And then Rishi said that all these sages, they said, what kind of husband are you desiring? I mean, he is not having any home. He doesn't care for anybody. Some people last time forced him to marry Sati. He married Sati. Then he stopped considering her as his wife. As a result, Sati gave up her life. And now he is again roaming around happily by himself. He doesn't care for anybody. He is just, he gets some food wherever he gets something, and that's it. So what kind of husband do you want? What kind of happiness do you want from such a husband? They said, but because you are so beautiful and you are doing so much penance and austerities, we can suggest another match for you. We can suggest Lord Vishnu, who is the repository of all the qualities. So if you want, we can try to make match for you with Lord Vishnu. He is all powerful, all knowing, as well as he is the repository of all the divine qualities. So if you want, we can try for that. Why do you spend your life to get united with Lord Shiva? So when Parvati heard that, she became a little upset. And then she says, Narad bachan na main pariharaun, basau bhavan ujrau nahi daraun, Guru ke bachan pratiti na jehi, sapne hu sugam na sukh siddhi tehi, Mahadev avgun bhavan, Vishnu sakal gun dham, jehi kar manoram jahi san, tehi san kam. अब मैं जन्म संभुहित हारा को गुंदूषण करे बिचारा. Parvati said that I will not give up whatever Narada has told me. Whether I get a family, whether my home gets settled, whether I get settled in a family or do not, I don't care. That fear will not make me give up what Narada has told me. I have taken Narada's words as true, like a guru. And one who does not have faith in words of his guru, even in the dream, he will not attain the happiness and success. Let Lord Shiva be repository of all the negative qualities, all the demerits. And let Vishnu may be a repository of all virtues and merits. One is, however, only concerned with that one who gladdens one's heart. So this life I have staked for Lord Shiva. There is no point in trying to figure out, trying to analyze that what are his merits and demerits. That part is already past. I have already staked my life for Lord Shiva. And then she says, Janma koti lagi ragar hamari, barau sambhu na tarahau kuari, tajau na narad kar upadesu, aap kahi satvar mahesu, dekh prem bole muni gyani, Jai Jai Jagadambike Bhavani. I have decided either Lord Shiva will be my husband or I will not marry. That has been my firm determination. Even if it takes millions of lives for me, that is my resolve, that either Lord Shiva will be my husband or I will remain unmarried. No matter what happens, I will never give up what Narada has told me. Even if Lord Shiva himself comes and tells me to give that up, I will not do that. When they saw so much love and resolve of Parvati, all these sages, they became very happy, because in a way they were testing, not that they wanted to turn her mind. So when they saw this much resolve and love of Parvati for Lord Shiva, they just bowed to her and says, "O mother, you are indeed Bhavani, you are indeed the wife of Lord Shiva. You are the mother of the whole universe." So then all these 7 sages, they go to Parvati's father and ask him to go to his daughter and bring her home back, because the purpose of her penance is fulfilled. When this was happening, there was a demon which happened in that time. तारक असुर भयउ तेहि काला, भुज प्रताप बल तेज विशाला, तेहि सब लोक लोकपति जीते, भय देव सुख संपत्ति रीते. There was a demon called Taraka or Tarakasura. Taraka. He attained a lot of powers. He did a lot of penance. And when Lord Brahma, he came to him as a result of his penance and asked him to ask for a boon, he wanted the immortality, but that cannot be given. So he asked that only one, the son of Lord Shiva, I should die in the hands of son of Lord Shiva. Now at that time, Lord Shiva, already the Sati was gone. Sati was no more, Lord Shiva's wife. And Lord Shiva, the way he was living, he had no interest in whatsoever starting a family. So this demon thought that this being the condition, Lord Shiva will never marry. His wife is already not, his wife is no more. He will not marry another time. And he will never have a son as a result of it. And I will remain immortal. So that was his calculation. That's why he asked for that. If I were to die, it should be in the hands of son of Lord Shiva. So he became very powerful as a result of that boon. And he won over a lot of kings, even the gods. And gods naturally became divested of their wealth and happiness. So they became unhappy. All these gods in the heaven, they go to Lord Brahma. Whenever they find this kind of difficulty, when they get defeated by demons or negative powers, they go to Lord Brahma. So all these stories in Manas, they also have metaphorical meaning. Like in this case, for example, a seeker is trying to meditate, trying to get rid of negative qualities, trying to attain the divine qualities. And then sometimes he gets so much overpowered by demonic qualities or negative qualities, that he feels helpless. And then he prays to God or goes to Guru for the help or goes to saints. So this is the metaphorical meaning here. And this kind of metaphorical meanings are there in whole scripture. So scripture can be understood both ways, as a story, and there are teachings interspersed, also as metaphorical. Both aspects are true. Both aspects are joyful. It's not that historically it did not happen. This is not just a metaphor. Both aspects are true. So when the gods go to Brahma, he said, well, this demon has taken a boon that he will be only killed by son of Lord Shiva. So, but Lord Shiva is in Samadhi. He is not concerned about anything. So how will he ever have a son in this state? How will he ever marry and have a son? So Lord Brahma said that you send Kamadeva. So Kamadeva is like compared to Cupid in Greek mythology. He is a god of love, god of passion, passionate love. And he creates or increases the desire in a person. Many times in the stories of the scriptures from India, there is a mention that somebody is meditating very deeply, somebody is performing a lot of austerities and penance. And Indra, the king of heaven, he gets afraid that is this person meditating so that he can attain my position? Because the position of Indra, the king of heaven, it is attained as a result of a lot of meditation and austerities and sacrifices. So whenever somebody is performing this kind of meditation and austerities, Indra asks Kamadeva, the god of love and passion, that you go and create a desire in that person and make him sort of not away from these austerities and penance and meditation. Create a desire in his heart. So many times these kind of stories are there in our scriptures. In this case, Lord Brahma suggests to send Kamadeva not because of Indra was afraid, because Lord Shiva is already in a much higher state than Indra could ever be, but just so that Lord Shiva will get a little bit of a desire, or he will be at least getting up from Samadhi. And then he said, when that happens, we all will go to him and we'll pray to him to get married to Parvati so that he may have a son later on, and this son will kill this demon. So that was the suggestion Lord Brahma gave, that you send the Kamadeva, the Lord, god of love and passion, to Lord Shiva. पठ बहु काम जाई शिव पाही, करे क्षोभ शंकर मन माही, चलत मार अस हृदय विचारा, शिव विरोध ध्रुव मरण हमारा, तब आपन प्रभाव विस्तारा, निज बस कीन सकल संसारा, धरी न काहू धीर, सबके मन मन सिज हरे, जे राखे रघुबीर, ते उबरे ते काल महु. So when Kamadeva, he heard this proposal that go and disturb the Samadhi of Lord Shiva, he became very afraid. He knew about Lord Shiva, and he could see that if he tries to create disturbance for Lord Shiva, it will result into his death. So he told all these gods, look, I'm pretty sure that this assignment will result into my own death. But the scriptures say that even if one has to die to try to help others, one should do so. So in that sense, I'm going there and trying to help you. When Kamadeva is going, because he is a god of love and passion, he has a lot of tools in his hands. So he can create any kind of, like he can create a spring season. He can create beautiful aromatic flowers. He can bring down a lot of beautiful young ladies, fairies. So he has all these tools which he uses to create the disturbance in the minds. And when he was going to Lord Shiva, he spread his effect on the whole world. And Tulsidas ji has described some detail whereby how the different people, even those who were meditating, could not control their mind, and they felt extremely disturbed by arising of this desire, and the whole world came under its influence. But even at that time, when Kamadeva was spreading his influence, even at that time, those who were really dedicated and devoted to Lord Rama, they were unaffected. So Kamadeva reaches Lord Shiva. The moment he sees Lord Shiva, he trembles, because he could perceive that any attempt to disturb Lord Shiva is going to result into his death. And he created all, but he decided, okay, I mean, he didn't want to run away because that would look like a cowardly thing. So he still decided to go ahead as per his assignment. So he creates this season of spraying beautiful flowers, music, ladies, whatnot. But there was nothing which could disturb Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is in Samadhi, and that's how it remains. He remained. Then Kamadeva became a little upset. And it is said that he has 5 arrows made of flowers. Metaphorically, you can think of lower 5 centers, creating the desires in those centers. So anyway, the story goes that he shoots these arrows of flowers on Lord Shiva. When Lord Shiva is hit by these flowers, arrows, his samadhi is broken. He is a little upset because his samadhi is broken. He looks around. He looks around all this beautiful season, flowers, and then he sees Kamadeva hidden somewhere trying to hit him with the arrows. He becomes a little upset. Lord Shiva, when he looks at Kamadeva, he opens the 3rd eye and burns down Kamadeva. So Kamadeva is burnt to ashes. So here it is. Saurabh pallav madanu biloka bhayav kop kampeu trailoka tab sivati sarnayan ughara chitvat kam bhayav jari chhara. So the 3rd eye is known as the eye of knowledge, eye of wisdom, eye of unity, and 2 eyes are the eye of duality. So this is another metaphorical meaning here, that when the knowledge arises, the desire is burnt down in that seeker. When a person is realized, in other words, the desire is burnt down. When the knowledge arises, desire is gone for good, forever. When Lord Shiva gets up from his samadhi and burns down Kamadeva, all the gods and Brahma, they approach him and they request that, oh Lord Shiva, this demon has come and he can only be killed by your son. Otherwise, he cannot be defeated. So please agree to your marriage. And they also said Parvati, who was Sati in her last life, she is doing a lot of penance to win your heart. So please agree to our request. And then Brahma says, Sakal Suran ke hridayas sankar param uchahu nijnanan dekha chahi nath tumhar vivahu. All these gods, they are seized with a desire that they should see your marriage ceremony with their own eyes. So Lord Shiva, because anyway he had promised to Lord Rama for marrying Parvati, he agreed. He agreed to Brahma's proposal and said, so be it. So then Tulsidas describes in some detail his marriage procession. So how Lord Shiva is getting ready for marriage, how his attendants are decorating him. Sibahi sambhugan karahi sigara, jata mukut ahi moru samara, kundal kankan pahire vyala, tan vibhuti patke hari chala, sasila lat sundar sir ganga, नैन तीन उपबीत भुजंगा, गरल कंठोर नर सिर माला, अशिव वेश शिव धाम कृपाला, कर त्रिशूल अरु डमरु बिराजा, चले बसे चढ़ बाजहि बाजा, देख सिवहि सुर त्रिय मुस्काहि, बर लायक दुल्हिन जग नाही. So attendants of Lord Shiva, they started decorating their Lord, that is Lord Shiva. So his matted locks, because Lord Shiva has matted hair, they were formed into a shape of a crown, and they were decked with a host of serpents. He had serpents for his earrings and also for the bracelets. His whole body was smeared with the ash of the crematorium. So he had his body smeared with the ashes of the cremation ground. For his clothes, he had worn a skin of the tiger. On his above the eyebrows, he had moon. On the head, he had river Ganga. He had 3 eyes, and for the sacred thread, he had the snake. Lord Shiva is said to have drunk a poison at one point of time to save the creation. That's a long story. I will not go into that right now. So his throat is blue. He held the poison in his throat, did not allow to go down, nor he took it out. So his throat has the poison. So all these, his looks are so inauspicious, and Lord Shiva indeed is very auspicious. The name Shiva means auspiciousness, and he is very compassionate. But his outer form, the way he decorates, looks somewhat inauspicious. So when all these gods and goddesses, they saw this kind of decoration of Lord Shiva, they smiled and they said, it is very difficult to find a bride for this kind of groom. So I'll just show you Lord Shiva's photo. Many times in the temples, you will find like in this fashion. So this is one of the Lord Shivas. So you see, he has the snake's hair, he has the moon, he has river Ganga, he has trident in his hand. This instrument is called Damru, and he has the snakes for the bracelet arms, and he is having the tiger skin to cover his body. So that's how he is depicted in many of the temples in India. When Lord Shiva's procession went like this, and then he had all his attendants. All his attendants were like ghosts, demons, all these kind of people, they are his attendants. And they have all sort of, some are with hands, some are without hands, some are with multiple hands, some are with multiple heads, some without head. So these kind of attendants are accompanying Lord Shiva in his marriage procession. When such kind of marriage procession reached to Parvati's home, and when people saw that, many people got very afraid and they just ran away. When some of the children also ran away and they went their homes. And when parents said, "What happened? Why are you running away and why are you so afraid?" They said, "It doesn't look like a marriage procession of Parvati. It looks like a death procession." Somebody has to be extremely fortunate to have seen marriage of Parvati with Lord Shiva and still have life to tell the tale of marriage of Parvati. So some of the elders, they knew about Lord Shiva, they knew about his outer appearance and his procession, and they said there is nothing to be afraid. He is very compassionate and kind Lord, and nothing to be afraid about it. When Parvati's mother, Maina, she sees this procession, and there is a tradition that you welcome the husband of your daughter, the bridegroom who is coming, and when it is done by the mother of the bride, she got extremely afraid when Maina saw this kind of appearance of Lord Shiva, and she just ran away in the inner quarters, and taking Parvati in her lap, she started crying, and she thought that, what did I have to do with Narada? I did not do anything wrong with him. Why did he suggest such a husband for my daughter? And she was crying like that. Then Sage Narada came at that place, and then he explained everything. तब नारद सब ही समुझावा, पूर्व कथा प्रसंग सुनावा, मैना सत्य सुनहु मम बानी, जगदम्बा तब सुता भवानी. Then Narada said, "Oh Maina, listen, your daughter is not just an ordinary girl. She is the Jagdamba, the mother of universe. She is ever the wife of Lord Shiva. She cannot have any other husband. Even in last life, she was the wife of Lord Shiva. And that's how it is ordained. She is not an ordinary person. She is the eternal consort of Lord Shiva, mother of the universe." When they heard this, and they knew Narada was telling the truth, they got a lot of joy and happiness that they have Divine Mother herself in their home as their daughter. So everybody became very happy, joyful. The marriage ceremony went very fine. There was lots and lots of different kind of dishes to eat. भांति अनेक भई जेवनारा, सूप शास्त्र जस कछु व्यवहारा, सो जेवनार की जाय बखानी, बसहि भवन जहि मातु भवानी. So Parvati, Ma Parvati, she is also known as Annapurna. Annapurna means the Divine Mother who gives the food, who is also the goddess of food, giving the food to people. In Varanasi, which is the city of Lord Shiva, there is also a temple of Mother Annapurna. And it is said that anybody who goes to Varanasi does not remain hungry, because it is the city of Annapurna. She ensures that everybody who is in that city does not go hungry. There have been some sages and saints in the past who even tried to put it to test, and they found that they went into a very inaccessible place, they still got the food. So when Mother Annapurna herself is there, what to talk of what kind of dishes would be prepared there? then the marriage ceremony finally gets completed. पानी ग्रहण जब कीन महेशा, ही हर्षे तब सकल सुरेशा, वेद मंत्र मुनि बर उच्चरहि, जय 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 शंकर सुर करहि. So there is a ceremony in India, in the Vedic ceremony of marriage. The husband holds the hands of the bride. That is called Pani Grahana. Pani means hand, Grahan means holding. So husband holds the hands of the bride, and that is a part of the marriage ceremony. So when Lord Shiva held the hands of the bride, all the gods, they were very happy at heart, because they understood that now Lord Shiva is getting married, eventually he will have a son, and that son will kill demon Tarakasura. Those of you who have seen Indian marriage ceremonies, and particularly a little in the past, when the marriage happens, bride goes to bridegroom's home. So from her home, she goes to bridegroom's home. And that ceremony, when bride is leaving, and that is not a temporary leaving, she is going to her new home, naturally everybody, bride's parents, relatives, friends, they are having a mixed emotion. On the one hand, they are very happy that she is going to her new home, starting a new life. On the other hand, because she is leaving them permanently. So they normally shed a lot of tears. These tears are of joy, at the same time that the future is sort of a little uncertain, even though we always expect a brighter future. Plus they will not see her as they were seeing her so far. So that Maina also is having the similar emotions, Parvati's mother, and she is saying here, Kat vidhi surji nari jag mahi, paradhin sapne hu sukh nahi, bhayati prem bikal mehtari, धीरज कीन कुसुमै बिचारी. She is saying, taking Parvati in her lap, that why has God created woman in this fashion in this world? One who is dependent upon others can never dream of happiness. This is a very famous quote of Tulsidas Ramayana. Paradhin sapne hu sukh nahi. Whenever a person is not happy because he or she is dependent upon somebody else, people just quote this as a idiom sort of thing. Paradhin sapne hu sukh nahi. तब जन्मऊ शट बदन कुमारा, तारक असुर समर जहि मारा, आगम निगम प्रसिद्ध पुराना, षण्मुख जन्म सकल जग जाना. So eventually, Lord Shiva had a son, and that son is known as by Shanmukha, because he was born as a six-headed deity, and that story, then he Shanmukha killed Tarakasura. That story is famous, and Tulsidas ji has not described in Ramayana here. He is saying that story is famous in other various Puranas and other scriptures. So, and the entire world knows it. That's what Tulsidas ji says here. So, Lord Shanmukha, he is worshipped in India, mostly in South India. So with this, our time is over for the today's class, and I would like to invite any questions or comments from you. If there are no questions or comments, then we'll just close the class with the prayers. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you all.